have a chance to ask Secretary Pompeo some questions. Do you think China will attack Taiwan under Biden?
Yeah. So this is so the question is, will the Chinese Communist Party make the decision to attack Taiwan militarily? And it's unknowable in some sense, but there are things that we know for sure. There is no higher priority for Xi Jinping than to bring Taiwan under his tyrannical control. No higher priority. It's the first thing I heard on their list for 4 years in every interaction I had with any of my Chinese Communist Party counterparts. Second, they might well attack militarily if they believed they needed to. But I think Xi Jinping believes that he can use coercion, perhaps some military coercion, but economic power, infiltration, espionage, and he can strip away friends and partners from Taiwan and leave Taiwan isolated in a way that the Taiwanese people will be in a very difficult place and thereby exert coercion and control. That's how he's operated in many countries around the world, to exert his influence. Those are the things the United States is quintessentially perfectly set up to push back against. We have the capacity to support the democrat, freedom-loving people of Taiwan, and we should use every American tool, our economic tools, our diplomatic tools, our ability to convene countries like Australia and South Korea and Japan and others in Southeast Asia to unite and make clear that the costs of coercing or taking over Taiwan are simply too great.
That's reassuring. On a very side subject, can you give us your thoughts on Afghanistan and what happened and what you would have done to change it?
So, yes, I can give you my thoughts. Let me start with first thing first with respect to Afghanistan. Do we have any Afghanistan veterans in the room today? Well, let me tell you, if they are here, or you have friends or family members who serve there, tell them that Mike Pompeo and the American people know that their service was noble and important. I saw firsthand the amazing work that our soldiers, our sailors, the Marines that were there, the intelligence operators who were doing amazing counterterror operations. They saved American lives for 2 decades in Afghanistan, and they should always be proud of every minute they served on behalf of the United States of America in that difficult place. The world watched America walk off the stage and leave a debacle in Afghanistan, and it did not have to be that way. We, for 4 years, worked to achieve President Trump's mission. You don't have to guess what his objective was. He tweeted about it, right? He wanted to get our young boys and girls home. He gave me, as his Secretary of State, the mission to achieve just that. And we made progress. We got from a little over 15,000 of our young men and women there, where they were frequently the case that our young men and women were brought back home. And we had to attend ceremonies at Dover Air Force Base with their families. He wanted less of that, and we got it. We went down to 8,600 and then to a bit over 4,000, then ultimately to about 2,800 when our time on January 20th expired. We knew that we had to get the conditions right to protect the American interests that those soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines had fought for all of those years. And while we had made progress, we weren't all the way there. President Biden took over on the afternoon of the 20th of January and made the fateful decision to declare September 11th as the date that America will leave. It was a deeply political decision. It was a decision that his military had told him made no sense and put Americans at risk and American interests at risk. And it was a decision that ultimately led to the collapse of the Afghan government and, sadly, leaving Americans behind enemy lines and 13 Americans who perished in the departure through Kabul. This is a tragedy that the world has seen, and America's very commitment in the world is diminished as a result of this. I pray that the administration will take some set of actions that will demonstrate real American resolve and begin to regain the credibility that was lost as a result of the debacle that was our withdrawal, the execution of our withdrawal from Afghanistan.
So our next question is a very common question. What are your futures politically? Will you run for president? And will you also be vice president for Trump?
So here's what's easy. I've been in this fight for the things that you all value and that we all value collectively since I was 18 years old and entered the United States Military Academy. I could never have dreamed that I would have been chosen by President Trump, that the good people of South Central Kansas would elect me to Congress 4 times, or that I'd get the chance to be the CIA Director and Secretary of State. So only the Lord knows what holds in store. Other than this, I promise you, when I see you, when I hear you, I will continue to be part of this fight for freedom. I don't know what role I will take, but know this, it is a worthy fight, and we all have to find a place to advance that cause, and I promise you I'll stay at it as well.
So how much influence does China have on President Biden?
I'm sorry. Oh, how much influence does the Chinese Communist Party have on President Biden?
And what is your assessment of their policy?
I always try to focus on the things that I know for sure. Here's what I know for sure. When the Chinese Communist Party has acted in ways that are deeply hurtful to our freedom here in America, this administration has not responded. We know very much that the people of Taiwan are worried that we won't do the right thing for those freedom-loving people. I come from a place that is so focused on delivering on a set of policies, and I watch President Biden, who is clearly demonstrated the absence of resolve to protect those things that we care about the most. That's the thing that I'd ask every one of you to focus on. We must demand that they take the actions that will protect our freedom and our country and provide freedom for people all around the world as well.